So those are all things I think that are really important to be thinking about, is how do we not end up back here again? Because that's not in anybody's interest.
Right. And that gives where I drop in. So obviously there's at least three big things going on by the time I'm in it. First, just pregame, I like to see and usually get a fairly extensive briefing on the construction issues and the financials on the damages, maybe even soft spreadsheets that we can play with the numbers. I like to talk to lawyers before we get into the mediation session, because they'll tell me more privately than I can read and glean from the paper, and what they'll, frankly, that they want to put in writing. And part of that is the third, and they just mentioned it. There's real people behind all these exercises, and the construction issues and what's done. And believe it or not, on one side, this is Texas after all. You got people that love their land and don't think they're getting treated fair because somebody across the street or at the local watering hole told them what their bonus check was or what their makeup check was, and they think they're getting shorted, which triggers, to an earlier presentation we had, all kinds of cognitive tics that go on in our brains that are shortcuts and jump us to conclusions that might not be able to be traced through the spreadsheets. So I always want to know, is this a corporate player that owns the property, and this is basically arbitraging the risk of past and future between the parties? Or is this somebody that really thinks they've been treated unfairly, that needs to be heard, that needs to go through the process, that needs to see, perhaps mathematically, but evolutionarily during this point in the day, where all of our makes it a little harder to make decisions, but it's final time for the decisions, to process and to see the equivalency on what the models look like going forward, how you're not being shorted, how you're not triggering anchoring from prior positions, from comparables, from the neighbors, whoever it is, so that you can use the legal analysis and the models to get to the real people who are making the decisions. Because we all know that same case, same lawyers, different day and different parties has a different dynamic. And it's important to plug into that. And the lawyers really have a good bead on that most of the time and can tell me help put orange cones out for me about what to avoid and what to go for. And then that evolves during the day. And I was semi-joking about the time slot we got, but if there's a whole lot of research about timing and actually some good books that condense it all in various longitudinal studies over even a day period of time. And it's helpful. We used to say that people had asked me, how do we prepare to be most effective in a mediation? And used to be, when mediation was new and I had dark hair, it was mediation 1.0, and what'd we do? We go in and give a summary judgment argument or a stomping closing argument and wonder why everybody took until about noon to peel them out of the ceiling tiles, right? Because we everybody that's post-teenage doesn't like to be told they're wrong and likes to come to their own conclusions about where they want to go and what they want to do, and that takes a little bit of time. And the brain restarts. So my urge and my ask when I call folks is, what about the people, and how are they going to be able to get across the line and get to yes? Is it a fast pace? Are we doing a fast dance tango, or are we doing a waltz? Are they going to take a while to get around to come cognitively to where it's their idea? And these guys have hit on all that. They got to get to the price, got to figure out a forward mechanism that is transparent and perhaps dueling models that show that even if you're right, here's what the model looks like on the past and here's how it's forecasted out in the future. Wouldn't it be great if it were simplified to something like X or Y and do the tweaks to where somebody who owns the land thinks they're being treated fairly, but it's administratively possible for the operator and whoever might succeed him on both sides to be able to administer.